KatrinasCreations. This is episode 188. If you are a new viewer, and we do have a lot of new viewers, thank you so much for stopping by. Please remember to click that little red subscribe button down below, and if you click the little bell icon next to it, it will let you know anytime I post a video, which is always on Saturdays and Wednesdays and some other times during the week. And if you're a returning viewer and those who have been around and stuck with me for a long time, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. So let's get started. I have two finished objects, not yarn related. I've done a little sewing this week. We'll start with the smallest one first. I made a pillow. It's like a linen fabric on this side. And then this side is kind of a satiny, I don't know if it'll show up. It's a little sheen, but yes, it's like a satin on the back. And I just have to stuff it and sew the end shut right here. I made this to use as a lumbar pillow. I have back problems and I've had back surgery before, so sometimes my lower back's a little sore. And I was like, this is the perfect size that I can just tuck, you know, just lightly, not like over stuff, and put it at the small of my back when my back is a little sore. So that's my first finished object. Well, I have to stuff it. So I guess it's semi-finished at this point. Then I have a skirt I made, and this is actually Wednesday's video because here is the skirt. And yes, it's crazy wild colors, and I'll explain why. I mean, it is purple. We have to like the purple part. It's a little wilder colors than what I normally would wear. It's like all kinds of swirls of purple. But I did a little experimenting, and I didn't want to do this with some of my better material. This pattern is actually not a pattern at all. It's a formula. And it is a formula for making a colonial skirt. And when I say colonial, I mean like the 1700s here in the US. I guess they probably dressed the same pretty much worldwide. But it was like a skirt and then like a jacket type of thing that went over top. And I'm not making that part of it. I have no desire to dress as a colonial and walk around in front of people. But I did think that the design of the skirt was ingenious. And it's because it uses no drawstring, no buttons, no snaps, no zipper, and no elastic. But you can make it so it's fitted. So it's pretty clever the way they did it. And that's what Wednesday's video is going to be about, is I'm going to show you how to make this. It's requiring no pattern whatsoever, and it's super, super simple once you see what I did with it. So anyway, this is the skirt, and I will insert a picture of me modeling it. So here is the skirt that I made. Now, I do have a skirt underneath this, because I just showed how to put it on. So for modesty's sake, I do have a skirt underneath this. Normally I would not, but since I was going to be putting it on in front of people for the video on Wednesday, I kept a skirt on. So anyway, but here it is. I'll come close so you can see it. It is an A-lined gathered skirt, and stay tuned on Wednesday and I'll show you how to make it. So you have to come back for Wednesday's video to see how I made that, but you'll be impressed. It's very, very simple to make, but it was really intelligent. I don't know why we don't make skirts this way anymore. So anyway, yeah, stay tuned for Wednesday's video to learn more about that. Now let's get started with my actual yarn related projects. We will start with my Find Your Fade. I'm striping through to this color. I am in, where's the other yarn? Here it is. I'm pulling it out of my bag here. This is the color I was doing, and this is the color I'm striping it with, which are, the pinks are very, very close, as you can see here. So even though I am striping at this point, you would never guess I was striping, but there is part of the stripes. You can see that there's like a solid line of pink here and here, And that is the beginning of the striping. I have 2 more rows of the stripes to go. So, or maybe I have 3. How many stripes are in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there's 5 or 6 stripes. Anyway, I've got a little bit more striping to go. But yeah, it kind of messes with your eyes because you cannot really see the stripe a whole lot because the pink is so very close. And I thought that happened someplace else on this too, but I don't see it. Yeah, the other stripes pretty much stood out very well. I mean, you can see very clearly the other stripes in here. Especially this one. This is my favorite. This is where the black striped with the color I'm currently getting through. And you can also see the beginnings of the odd shape of this shawl. Okay, now this does get turned, remember, sideways like this. But here you can see the edge that's cutting in this direction. So it's not like a long triangle. It starts off at a real tight point and then it widens way out. I'm at the widest section. This is the biggest section. That's why it's taken me like 2 weeks to get through this particular color because it's the widest and the longest stretch of the same color. But you can see here where I'm starting to do the shortening happens. So that is my project on my that's my progress on your, I'll get it right yet. That's my progress on my Find Your Fade. And that is a pattern by Andrea Mowry. Next, we'll look at my crochet pattern, I'm all tongue-tied today. It's been a long day. We had a guy come to our house today. We live in a condo, but it's like a house, but it's part of a condominium. We're a duplex. We share a house. The other side of our house is somebody else that lives there. There's 2 houses hooked together. But we have an upstairs and a downstairs and a yard and all that type of thing. But we had somebody come to clean our dryer vents out. They were coming through the whole neighborhood and doing our dryer vents. They found a dead bird in my dryer vent. Dave said it was a sparrow or something. They don't know how long it had been there, but it was clogging up the dryer vent. So, yeah, I have a feeling that my clothes drying is going to go much faster now. But ew. Anyway, totally off the subject there, but it just reminded me of what my day has been like today. Dead birds. And here is my capelet that I'm working on. I am partway through the 3rd skein, and I am so glad that I got a 3rd skein. And I tried this on yesterday, and it's almost at the length I want, but I want it a little bit longer. I know that this is going to stretch even more once it gets blocked. So let me find my marker from last week so I can show you how far I've gone. Did my marker fall off? Where's my marker? I can't find my marker. I found it. I was looking in the wrong place for it. So here's where I was last week, was here, and I have done 1, 2, 3, 4 rows, which doesn't sound like much, but the rows are getting wider. They increase by 6 stitches each time I go around, so it flares out. And I'm flaring it out more than the pattern calls for, just because parts of me flare out more than other parts. So I don't want it to be restrictive or anything like that. So yes, it's flaring out so it matches my flare outs. But you can see there's like a gusset on this side. This is where the increases take place. And this is all double crochet here. And there's one on the other side. And then there's the center section here. See if I can hold just one part up so you can see it. It is like a modified shell stitch with like a lacy stitch in between. So I really hope to get this done in the next week or so. I'd like to have it done this next week. But part of my problem, I didn't get very far. I lost my crochet hook. It took me a couple days into the week to remember where I had seen it fall at. And it had fallen down into like a drawer thing that I have. And yeah, I remembered it when it happened, and then I forgot where it had gone. So anyway, that's my crochet project. Then we have the sweater. This sweater, I'll be so glad when I finish. I had a major issue with it this week and had to rip out 13 rows. I was almost done the sweater. I mean, here's my sweater. It is knitted. And I did do a lot this week. I mean, you can see how far I have gone. And each of these color changes are 11 rows. You will also notice when I change skeins that these two do not quite match. There's a slight difference in the, well, actually more than a slight difference with the tans, which I did not know. But I'm not ripping out again. So anyway, there's that. But I would have been much further. I got partway through and, well, I filmed what happened. So it's easier to let you see the video than for me to try to explain. Well, I guess I could sort of explain. I missed a stripe. I missed this lightest stripe here. As I've gone around the sleeves, of course, the circumference of the sweater has gotten wider as I've added the sleeves, which means that to maintain the stripe at 11 rows each, I'm having to use more yarn. This is where these striped automatically within the skein. But by widening it, my stripes are going to do this. So I was using my second skein of yarn, just like you would with crochet, to make the color fall in the right place. I was doing the same thing with the stripes, to make the stripes end up in the same place. And in the midst of cutting and splicing, I completely cut a color out and noticed it about 2 colors up as I was finishing up the sleeves and went, ugh. And it's something maybe a lot of people wouldn't have noticed, but I would have noticed it. Every time I looked at it, it would have driven me crazy. So I was like, no, just go ahead and fix it. But I did film myself showing what happened, where the mistake is, and then I filmed myself ripping it out. So for your ripping out pleasure, you are about to see a grown woman cry. Let me show you what happened. Okay, we have tan, light green, lighter green, charcoal, turquoise, tan, and notice the difference in tans here. This is where I changed skeins. That doesn't upset me as much as, look at that. We went right from turquoise, tan, we have a green, but you can see this real faint line of a lighter green. Yep, Katrina forgot that stripe of green in the sweater, and I'm almost done. It means I'm going to have to rip back 13 rows. Let the ripping out begin. Now that I have finished showing you what I've been making, let's take a look at what you all have been doing this week. Now, if you're new to the channel and you just watched our show and tell section, you are more than welcome to join in with the show and tell. All you need to do is go over to my Facebook page, which is Katrina Knits, and just post a picture there and tell me a little bit about it so that if there's information on it, I can share it if you know what the pattern is or the yarn or whatever. And then I show that picture on Saturday's podcast so everybody else can see what everybody else is making. And it gives each other ideas. I've gotten a lot of ideas off of show and tell. So anyway, that's what our show and tell is about. It's our community, look what we're making type of segment. So I had a lot of acquisitions this week. Sadly, Blueprint, which used to be Craftsy, went out of business very, very suddenly. I've been watching a couple of videos on it, and apparently even the people who were designing and doing classes for them were kind of caught off guard and had no idea this was happening. And anyway, they ran a 35% off of everything they had in the website at that point. So I did a little shopping. I bought this Sprightly acrylic. Now, I loved their Sprightly acrylic yarn. I've done several projects with it, and it does not pill. It's like a premium acrylic. It is a worsted weight, and this is just mauve is the color. I bought it to go with an Afghan that I wanted to make my one granddaughter, but it's not quite the right. It's too purple. I thought it was a little bit more pink. Let me see. There was 201 yards per skein, or 184 meters. But you can't get it anymore. But like I said, I loved Sprightly acrylic. So I did buy this. That didn't match anything now. And then I bought Bernat Softy Chunky. And I bought 8 skeins of this. And I love this jade color. There you can see it. It might be looking blue. Blues and greens do not turn up well on film, but it is jade green. And I bought 8 skeins of it because because this is a super chunky, there is, how many yards? They're calling it emerald. It's jade. And there's 108 yards per skein. And every time I look at this is a good color on me. It's one of the, purple and jade and teals and things are some of my favorite colors. And, well, actually I have lots of favorite colors, but this is one of my favorite colors. I used to have an outfit in this. It was a velour, if you guys remember velour. I had pants and a shirt out of this same color that my mother gave me for Christmas one year. And I liked it. It was extremely comfortable, but every time I wore it, I felt like a moldy elf because it was fuzzy and green. And I wasn't sure whether to say ho, 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 or how are things in the valley, little sprout. If you're not from the U.S., you probably did not understand what I was just talking about. Those of you who live in the U.S. know what I just said. Here in the U.S., we have green giant vegetables, and the main sales figure for the green giant vegetables is this great big green giant that, he's like, his skin, everything's green, and he goes, ho, 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 how are things in the valley, little sprout? And little sprout is a little green kid who is like tending all the vegetables. So, yeah. So anyway, I never know whether to say, how are things in the valley, little sprout, or ho, 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 because I look like a moldy elf. But I do like that color on me. And then I got, but I got extra fuzz in it today. And then I got another of the Softy Chunky, and I got 8 skeins of this also for a sweater. And they are calling this color wine, which, yeah, I would say it's wine. It's a pretty color. It's not a Christmas red, which is good, because otherwise I would look like the Christmas elf if I did that. So, yeah, we won't be putting those 2 colors together. But anyway, it is a wine red. And so that's going to be a sweater out of bulky yarn. And then I bought enough for one other sweater. I bought 5 skeins of this. And this is Cloudborne. Now, this is their worsted. I always bought their sock weight, which to me does not look like a whole lot difference in weight. This does. But this is Superwash Merino Worsted Twisted. And they are considering it a number 4 worsted. Yoka and I had a little talk about this week because she said maybe it was worsted based on the way it was spun. And I said, I've heard of that before, but she was explaining the difference between worsted and woolen, meaning how it is spun. And I said, here in the U.S., usually when we talk worsted, we're talking number 4 weight. They don't really hear, I don't know why, but here in the U.S., we don't tend to talk about how things, the method by which they're spun. So I need to do a little more research into that, because I have heard the term woolen before, but I didn't know I'm not sure how it applies to yarn. So, but she was explaining it. I think it's a rougher texture. It depends on how the fibers are lined up or something. Depends on whether it's worsted or woolen. And so anyway, this is worsted weight. It's number 4. But when I look at it, I think if it's considered a worsted, it's a very light worsted. To me, it's more of a sock weight. And but anyway, I have 5 skeins of this, and it's really soft. It's a superwash merino twist. This is called Autumn Heather, and there are 220 yards per skein, and I think it's got some nylon in it. No, it doesn't. It's 100% superwash merino. Well, no wonder it's so soft. So I have 5 skeins of this, and then I got 1 skein of this and 1 skein of this. So I can make kind of a fall light sweater, like a lightweight. This might be more of a cardigan than a pullover. I'm not sure, but those are the 3 colors. So I got those, and then I got at work this week, I was going through our Joann's donations, and sometimes there's kind of random things thrown in the Joann's donations. And Joann's is a craft store here in the U.S., and they very graciously send their leftover stock at the end of the season to the library that I work in. Well, we have to go get it, but anyway, they give us their leftover stock that can then be used for some of the different programs. But sometimes they send us things that there's not enough of to do a program with, or they're just random odds and ends that we can't use for large groups. So then we get to kind of look through them, and if there's something we can use, we get them. So I got two crochet books and 1 knitting book and a pocketbook bag. Pocketbook book. Yeah. So anyway, I got these 2. These are both Leisure Arts. And this one, it's called Cozy Comfort Afghans. This is still sold. Leisure Arts does still have this. It is still available at $7.99. And here's what the back of it looks like. I really like this kind of plaid looking one here. I like that one. And this looks very much like a C2C, which is interesting because that's going to be my next project. I have up right here. You can see it. You just see the ends of them right here. Those are like cylinders with 5 different graduated colors of blue and white. And I have 2 of them. So that's going to become a C2C blanket. I'm going to use 1 cylinder of the 5 different skeins to go make it bigger from the corner to the center, and then from the center back down to the other corner I'll use the other cylinder. So that's my next plan. For those of you who are new, I've only been crocheting maybe 2.5 years, something like that. Somewhere in 2018 I started crocheting. Lucy Stamp and I were talking about this week, and I said I know it was somewhere 2 years ago or so. And she says, I think it's 2018. I said, that sounds about right. So I'm still learning. So when I hit the C2C, some of you might be on speed dial. So, so far if I can find a tutorial to watch on YouTube, I do fine. But anyway, this is one of the books. And like I said, this is still available over on Leisure Arts. And there is a link down below to Leisure Arts. If you're interested, you can link right through there. And this one is not available, at least I couldn't find it on their site any longer. It's called Graphic Pattern Afghans. This is going to be above my skill set for a while, but I thought it was kind of interesting. So it is graphic pattern Afghans, and here's some on the back. And I know some of you do what are called Grafghans, which are what these are, Grafghans. I know in the show and tell I have seen some that Spring Noelker has made, and I have also seen some that Cindy Suttles of Cindy Hearts Crochet also makes. So yeah, it might be a while before I tackle something like this, but when I do, I'll be ready. So that's the 2 crochet books. Then I found a knitting book. Now this is by interweave.com. This was a book that was actually on the withdrawal shelf, so it was part of the library collection and they withdrew it. And I happened to be walking by and went, "Ooh, knitting book." So here it is, and it's all different types of sweaters. And there's some scarves in here as well. Yeah, some really pretty ones. I think there's one here. So, yeah, I haven't sat down. It's all named after New York area. Here's a really cute sweater too. That would probably not look great on me, but on somebody with a figure, that might be good. So, yeah, there's a whole bunch. Oh, they've even got cowls in here. Here's a really pretty cowl. So, yeah, I haven't sat down and really looked all the way through this one. So when I get ready for this sweater, I might do a little looking through here. I have not worked up to crocheting a sweater yet, although I do have some Lion Brand yarn sitting over here down on the bottom. I've got like 10 skeins of the homespun that's going to turn into, because that way I know I've got plenty to make a crocheted sweater. It's funny because with knitting, I've been knitting for 20 some years, so I know pretty much how much yardage I need to make an item. I can pretty much guesstimate, and especially like for my size, I know about how many yards I'm going to need. I haven't gotten that feel with crochet yet. You know, after a while, you just kind of instinctively know. So I haven't hit that point yet where I can look at it and go, "Oh yeah, that's plenty. I should have enough to make a sweater or something with that." You know, I just lied. Not intentionally, but I have made a cardigan. I did make a cardigan that was crocheted. I forgot about that. Pam Phillips and I both made the same cardigan. I don't remember what it was called, but it was the sedge stitch or sledge stitch. It was kind of a walk-up stitch. It was like a single crochet, double crochet, no, single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet. And they kind of tipped sideways, almost like a drunken granny square type of thing. But yeah, I forgot I had made that, but I didn't estimate my yardage. So like I said, I don't have as good of a feel for yardage with crochet as I do for knitting, but I know with the homespun with 10 skeins, I've got plenty. I should be able to do it. So yeah, that's one of my goals too for next winter. And then the last book I ran across, I love pocketbooks. Tina Hairston and I, the 2 enablers that get each other to buy stuff all the time. Yeah, she and I both liked pocketbooks. Look at this one, Tina. There you go. All kinds of handmade fabric pocketbooks. So, yeah, I'm excited over this. There's all kinds of cute stuff that could be project bags or all kinds of little pocketbooks. Like here's one with an owl on it. So, yeah, this could be fun to play with. Especially since my last bunch of acquisitions were, we got, as well as some of the other donations, we got 4 huge boxes of fabric samples that were they were like riveted onto hangers. They were upholstery samples. And so I was cutting them off and sending them to different branches are going to use them for different sewing projects or, you know, things like that. But we've got a ton of them. So I took some of them home, which are then going to be made into some project bags. So there will be more project bags appearing in my Etsy shop, hopefully very soon. I still have a couple. My Etsy shop link is also down below. I still have a couple of the project bags that I made for sale there. I also still have some yarn over there. So again, that's down below too. Now, I made a special big announcement yesterday. If you guys watched it, then you already know. But if you missed it, I will share it with you really quick. Dana of Wanderlust Crochet she started this idea for a giveaway, a huge giveaway called Christmas in July Fairies. And then she contacted some podcasters and asked if they would like to participate. Yes, I was contacted by 2 different people telling me about this and saying, hey, you should join this, and so I have. So let me tell you just a real quick recap of what is going on with Christmas in July Fairies. The fairies would be those of us podcasters who are participating, and there's over 100 of us at this point. And what we are doing is we are linking all of our podcasts together. So it's a great resource to go check out other crochet podcasts. There might be knitting, like I do a little bit of both. There might be knitting podcasts as well that are participating. But anyway, you can go over and check out some other podcasts that maybe you are not familiar with. And what we are doing is on our particular podcast, you can enter for this Christmas in July Fairies. Now, the video that you need to enter on, I will put in the link down below, because don't enter on this video. You want to enter on the other video, because that's the one I'm going to be drawing a winner from. So on July 15th, all of us that are participating will go to our particular video and we will draw a winner. We will send a prize to that winner. But then that winner, their name will be given to Dana, who started all of this. And on July 25th, which is exactly 6 months from Christmas, she will draw a grand prize winner. And the grand prize winner from those semifinalists will get a prize from each of us. So whoever is the grand prize winner is going to get like over 100 gifts coming to them. How cool is that? You just never know who it might be. Everybody, it's open to everybody. Everybody has a chance. So if you missed that, you do need to go to the particular video of that podcaster. And I will put down in the description box, I will put the link to my video where you can enter, but I'll also put the link to all the other playlists. There's a video that Dana put out, and it has a playlist on it of everybody who's participating. You can just go right through that playlist and go through all of those videos and enter if you would like to up your chances. So that is the Christmas in July Fairies. Now, for those of you who are new to the podcast, at the end of the podcast, I let you know any sales that are going on that I have run across, and I have the links to those sales down below. I am an affiliate of these companies, so if you do buy through my link, I get a small commission. Sometimes I don't share. If I don't see that they're running a really great sale, I don't even tell you about it, but the ones that are, I pass along. So let's get started with that. So in our Come and Get It section today, on the Dollar Tree, which is a dollar store, everything in the store is $1. Online, now you can maybe sometimes find yarn in the Dollar Tree. It's kind of hit or miss, but online they sell yarn. They are selling Premier Cotton yarn, which is great for dishcloths. They're selling it while supplies last. So, some of their colors are running short at this point. You do need to buy 3 skeins of yarn. So $3, you get 3 skeins of yarn. You can set it up so that you can pick it up at the store that's local to you. That way you don't have to pay shipping charges. I think there's a small handling fee, and that's it. So I have bought some yarn that way. I actually bought wool from them, which was really surprising, and it was nice quality wool. So, I keep an eye on the Dollar Tree because you just never know what's going to pop up over there. But right now they have Premier Cotton. Annie's craft store has 15% off of all of their new patterns that have just come out. You do need to use a coupon code NEWPAT to get that discount. Knit Crate is still offering their $5 for their first box, which I feel like I say this one every week, but it's such a good deal that I can't help but share it every week. Normally the subscription box that I get is 2 skeins of luxury yarn a month, including at least 4 patterns, and it's $24.99. That includes the shipping. I mean, that's the complete cost, $24.99, which isn't bad for 2 full skeins of luxury yarn. They're not acrylic, in other words. They're natural fibers. Most of the time there's some kind of merino in them or something like that, or alpaca, which is what my capelet is being made out of. That was some yarn and a pattern from March or April of this year. But if you would like to give them a try and don't want to spend that $24.99, you can actually get your first box for $5. You do need to use the link down below to get that. It's under a referral program, and you can get your first box for $5. Just make sure if you don't want to continue it, you cancel it before the first of the month, because that's when they automatically bill you for the following month. So it's just a really good deal for $5. Even if you decide not to keep it, continue it after that, you can't beat $5. You'd spend that in just the shipping alone. So it's basically like getting free yarn and patterns. So that is Knit Crate. Knit Picks over in their clearance section. Now you have to go to the website, which again, the link is down below. Then go over to their clearance section once the website pops up, and then click yarn. They are running 2 cakes of their Stroll gradient yarn. I don't know if it's going away forever or if it's just in clearance or what, but they are selling 2 cakes of Stroll gradient yarn. It's a fingering weight for $15.99. Each of the skeins is 229 yards, so it's 2 cakes of Stroll gradient for $15.99. So that is Knit Picks. Leisure Arts, you can still get this pattern. Well, patterns. I'm not sure how many are in here. Let me tell you really quick how many are in here. 6. There are 6 Comfort Cozy Afghans. And they're all done with worsted weight. I just saw some more detail on it. Yes, it's 6 Cozy Comfort Afghans to crochet using worsted weight yarn. So here are the 6 Afghans. So the downloadable version of this book is $7.99. They also have a book that I ran across, and it's also $7.99. It's called Use Up That Yarn. It's a scrap stash buster. It's all different projects, not necessarily Afghans, but just all different types of projects that you can use just to use up leftover pieces of yarn. So that's called Use Up That Yarn. And then I found another one, and it's $5.99, and it's called Yarn Crafts. And it's not necessarily crochet or knitting, it's just different things that you can do with leftover yarn. So then I went over to Lion Brand, and they're not running any current sales right now. However, if you go over to just to look at all of their yarn in general and organize it by price, there's a ton of yarn over there for $5 or less right now. So that is Lion Brand yarn. And Lion Brand tends to run sales, like little pop-up flash sales that have been going on lately. So if I run across any, as always, I will put up a short little post or a video. Sometimes I only post over on the Facebook page. So if you are not a member of the Facebook group, again, it is called Katrina Knits. Mainly because when I started the Facebook page, I did not crochet, and I've tried to change it to Katrina Crafts. That way it would cover both, but it won't let me put it in because it recognizes that it's not someone's name. So at this point, I just left it as Katrina Knits. But that's where you will find a lot of the posts, and that's where you can show your pictures for your show and tell and post them over there, and just make sure you tell me a little bit of information so we can include them in the next Saturday's videos. So that's it for this week. Thank you so much for stopping by. Don't forget to tune in Wednesday's video to see how and why I made a colonial patterned skirt. So that's it, and thank you so much for watching. Talk to y'all later. Bye, everybody.